Who should you be targeting on your week 3 Dynasty waiver wire? We're talking all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Dynasty.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Matt Williamson and Ryan McDowell.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Dynasty your first listen every day. I'm your host, Ryan McDowell. You can follow me on Twitter at RyanMC23. Joining me, as always, is former NFL scout Matt Williamson. Find Matt on Twitter at WilliamsonNFL. Matt, we're back. We've got 3 weeks essentially in the books now. And week 3 just brought us more injuries. And more injuries. The Raiders are the Saints are dealing with a quarterback injury. The Raiders are actually dealing with a quarterback injury as well. And the Chargers maybe got hit worst of all because Mike Williams has a torn ACL. His season is over. If you've got Mike Williams on your roster, what's your plan now? Are you just going to grab Josh Palmer if he's out there? Is it that simple? What do you expect to see from the Chargers offense moving forward?
I was a pretty big Josh Palmer fan coming out, but he hasn't really moved the needle for me. And,
right.
Quentin Johnston obviously was drafted in the first round, but he hasn't been able to crack the lineup.
I thought you might bring up that name. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of regret our show last week ranking Johnston quite as high as I did in terms of, when we drafted rookies, because he is struggling to make an impact. But I think we have to realize, though, how well Herbert is playing. I mean, he's putting up massive numbers. So I certainly want any piece I can of that passing game, but I don't know that I'm going to go overspend on Palmer right now.
Yeah, Palmer kind of on the borderline as far as could he be available in your dynasty league? I play in mostly larger leagues with 28 or 30 players on rosters. I don't think he's available in any of those leagues. Obviously, the smaller roster size you get, the more likely it is that he's going to be available. And based on what we've seen, both in the first couple weeks and in the quarter and a half that we were without Mike Williams, that the Chargers were without Mike Williams, it is going to be Josh Palmer to see the immediate increase in playing time and snaps. But yeah, you got to think the rookie Quentin Johnston eventually sees a significant bump in his playing time. Obviously, he's not out there on dynasty waiver wires, but you were still very high on the player, and this is not how you want to see him get that increased playing time or that bigger role. But obviously, it's part of the league, and he needs to take advantage of this while he can.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, let's move over to the quarterback position. This continues to be an interesting one. And again, I think all the names we'll talk about today are super flex only. We saw Derek Carr suffer a shoulder injury. Sounds like I think they labeled him week to week. So could be multiple weeks. These coaches are really hesitant to commit to any kind of timeline when it comes to injuries. But it looks like Jameis Winston's going to get at least one start. How do you feel about Winston in this Saints offense?
I didn't love how they handled it post-injury in-game, but sometimes things are a lot different whenever you have a whole week to prepare. Now, it's his defensive mind.
Things kind of fell apart when Jameis came in.
Yeah, and you got to remember, though, it's a defensive-minded head coach that has a really good Saints defense. But still, the wheels kind of came off there in a game that they were in control of. But overall, maybe I'm nuts, but I feel like Winston's kind of gotten a bum rap in his career. That
I agree.
I still think there's immense ability there. Like if any of that era guys turns into like the next Geno Smith, and what I mean by that is just resurging their career later in life than you would expect. Mm-hmm. I'm still betting on this guy because everyone just talks about, all he does is throw picks. Like, do we really even know that anymore? And if he does I care that much?
Well, I mean, we've seen plenty of bad quarterback play around the league.
Well, yeah.
3 teams that are dealing with bad quarterback play. You would think Jameis Winston would be an upgrade for them, but that chance to trade for him might have just gone out the window with this Carr injury. Those 3 teams I'm speaking of, though, the Falcons, the
Jets,
the Commanders, and the Jets. Obviously, the Jets. So, I mean, the Falcons have Taylor Heineke backing up Desmond Ridder. The Commanders have Jacoby Brissett backing up Sam Howell. And the Jets don't have many options, but they've been linked with free agents: Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Joe Flacco. Obviously, we're kind of hitting the bottom of the barrel there, but the Jets are already at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the quarterback play. So any comments about those situations? Hal just continues to take so many sacks. Ridder, we talked about a little bit yesterday with that Falcons offense, how bad they've been. Do you see Brissett or Heineke getting a chance? And do you see them making any kind of fantasy football impact?
Okay. First of all, Flacco and Ryan, I'm sorry. I don't think they could play football anymore. I mean, I think they're shot, and I understand they're fine above the neck. No one seems to want to get involved with Carson Wentz, but boy, I would be very, very tempted if I were the Jets, considering what's out there. And at least he has ability. He's had success in this league. Maybe he's just no fun to be around and teammates don't want him. We've heard rumblings of that. So maybe that's enough, but who knows? I tend to think Ridder is safe, and I tend to think Howell is safe. Howell's played well. The sack thing is a big problem, as you mentioned, as is, you could see Brissett, just because I don't know that there's any quarterback that protects himself worse than Howell. I mean, that guy takes huge shots, whether it's in the pocket or as a runner. I mean, he plays like he's Mike Allstott. Yeah, I mean, like, he's going to get hurt. And I think Brissett's good.
I was just going to agree on that. I think, I mean, Brissett's name has been tossed around as a Jets trade target, and the Commanders can't trade him because you're totally right. I mean, I hate to say it, he's going to get hurt. He's not a big guy.
Reckless.
He likes to run the ball when he gets the chance, and that we love that, obviously, as fantasy managers. But it's scary for that guy right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And played like that his last year at North Carolina. I lost my top guys, so I'm just going to run every time and, get beat up. And he's not the biggest dude. But I do want to mention, sort of like I said with Winston, but they're much, much different players. I think Jacoby Brissett's really good. I mean, I thought he had a really good year for the Browns last year, basically as a extended starter for 11 games. I mean, if he were a Jet, that's perfect. But you're right. How do you trade him considering who your starter is if you're Washington?
Yeah, totally agree. If you are in a super flex, Matt, and you've got these guys all on your waiver wire: Winston, Brissett, Heineke, maybe even a guy like Wentz. What's the order for you? Are you targeting any of them?
I mean, you know this better than I do, but I would assume most of these names are in the super flex leagues you're already in. I mean, backups that are high quality guys, the Winstons, the Brissetts are probably already out there. I can't believe Carson Wentz is in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it does. He's just been so bad, right? I mean, he was so bad his last couple stops. As far as these guys being rostered, I would say Brissett is rostered on in most leagues. Again, it obviously depends on your roster size. Heineke and Winston, I think, could be out there. Both are available in some of my leagues, even ones that have 28 or 30 man rosters. So those guys are potentially out there. And then, I mean, obviously Wentz, Ryan, and Flacco are going to be available in the majority of leagues if you want to try to really get ahead of things. And again, you've got to be desperate to take a shot on one of those. The Jets are desperate, or at least they should be. Maybe they should be going after one of those guys as well. Matt, we're going to continue the waiver wire conversation. We've got some running backs to look at with again, some rough situations around the league. We got so lucky with the first couple weeks of waiver wire. That's not true this week. It's pretty gross out there.
Yeah.
But we'll continue that conversation next.
So, folks, I'm 50 years old, and a high percentage of my good buddies now have thinning hair. And one of my best friends is a shorter fellow, so you notice it more. He wears a hat all the time, or at least he used to. And not long ago, he found Nutrafol and loves it. I mean, he says it's been working tremendously. Now he's not wearing his Michigan hat every time I see him. Looks great. His wife loves it. So men think losing their hair is inevitable, but you can take control of your hair's future with Nutrafol's science-backed hair growth supplement for men. 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime. That's normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate. You can get ahead of things with Nutrafol. So if you're tired of weakening or thinning hair, do you want to reach out your full potential? Leading hair growth supplement Nutrafol helps improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. No question. It's the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Their drug-free patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. So go to Nutrafol.com/men to take their hair health wellness quiz. Identify causes of your thinning hair, and Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair health through whole body wellness. And it works. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking Nutrafol men's hair growth supplements. So take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter our promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men, spelled Nutrafol.com/men. Enter our promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's Nutrafol.com/men, promo code LOCKEDONNFL.
Matt, as I said, the waiver wire pretty thin this week. We saw Gus Edwards have that Ravens backfield to himself, at least until he suffered what is believed to be a concussion. So we may be looking at Edwards missing week 4. Of course, Justice Hill was out for that week 3 game. Hill's expected to be back soon. Melvin Gordon is next in line. I mean, this just, again, it's kind of like the quarterback conversation we had with Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz and these guys. I can't believe it's 2023 and we're still talking about these guys, but here we are. Melvin Gordon, Justice Hill. What are you doing with that Ravens backfield? Or honestly, are you just kind of staying away?
I mean, it's at this position at times, as everyone knows, we even hit the bye weeks yet. You need to just put in somebody that's going to get touches, and Melvin Gordon might be that guy for the short term. I don't think he's going to rekindle his RB1, RB2 status for fantasy. I think he's pretty shot. But yeah, I'm throwing a small waiver wire claim at him. I mean, you're right, though. This week's pretty brutal looking for guys on the waiver wire.
What about Kareem Hunt? Now, I'm guessing he probably is not out there in most dynasty leagues. If he was possibly already rostered or may have been picked up after he was signed last week. Certainly if you're in a league with smaller rosters, might still be out there. Mostly I just wanted to know what you thought. We talked about Jerome Ford on yesterday's episode. But they threw Hunt out there, obviously has not played all season, signed off the street earlier that week. 5 carries, 13 yards, catches a couple balls for 22 yards. How do you see that backfield working out? I know we both like Ford, but Hunt's going to have a role here, obviously.
Yeah, he is. But I don't think it's going to be a timeshare 60-40, 55-45 split. I think Ford's the starter. Hunt's the backup that's going to get time here and there. And I mean, no running back plays, 90%. from what I was told, the big reason he was out there, plus his off the field stuff, was when he visited teams, the Colts and Saints, they didn't think he was in shape. So it might take a couple weeks till he actually can handle a workload that's fantasy viable, you know?
Yeah, we heard on one of the game broadcasts that Hunt had several offers that he was considering, and
We'll
I'm
see
not
about
sure.
that.
I'm not sure I believe that one. One more running back to look at here: Rico Dowdle, the Cowboys backup. Of course, we saw the Cowboys lose that shocker to the Cardinals on Sunday. Essentially, what we thought was the best team in the league, or at least one of the best, and definitely one of the worst in the Cardinals. And that's why we love the NFL. You never get what you expect here. But Dowdle had a solid role: 4 carries, 21 yards, catches 3 passes, including a touchdown pass. This guy already earned the RB2 job in Dallas, and I mean, this Cowboys team is giving Tony Pollard all the work he can handle. I think we're going to see Rico Dowdle play a consistent role for this Cowboys team. I don't know if it's enough to use him in fantasy lineups, but I want him on my roster just in case.
Yeah, I mean, especially because Pollard hasn't exactly proven over his career that he can handle a massive workload. He's not the biggest guy. I mean, he's going to take a lot of hits here in these next months, for sure, even if things go well. I just wonder with this team, it seems like Leonard Fournette or somebody like that would make a lot of sense for them. Would you rather pick up somebody like him? I guess he's really the last of the veterans still out there.
Yeah, it's getting thin. And I mean, you see the Ravens struggling at running back. You see, obviously things like the Chubb injury, and for Fournette to still be out on the street, it certainly suggests his time in the NFL may be over. Could be done for sure. Matt, we've got a couple more topics to discuss, including some trade targets. I want to get your thoughts on some trades that have gone down with some of the big names in the Dynasty community. We're going to do that next.
Folks, get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers right now can get $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. You bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. It's been great this year, by the way. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So please visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
Thanks for making Locked On Dynasty your first listen every day. Every dayers, check out tomorrow's show. Matt and I will be back. We'll be talking about a specific player, one of those dynasty losers we talked about yesterday, Justin Fields. Time to undergo a dynasty value study for the Bears quarterback. So check in on that show, and we'll just see how bad things are for Fields. All right, Matt, I've got to get your thoughts here on the player that we've talked about a couple times here over the past couple weeks. It's Puka Nacua. I've got some recent trades pulled up here for the Rams rookie. And as we've mentioned the past couple weeks, we are recording this episode ahead of Monday Night Football. So we've got Nacua coming up later tonight. You'll be listening to this one tomorrow, but we're excited to see Nacua, and a lot of dynasty managers are excited to get this guy on their roster if they didn't have him already. I want to take a look at some recent trades for Nacua, or involving Nacua, from Dynasty League football. Again, these are all actual trades that have happened. Matt, I see a bunch of trades on here that are very simply Nacua for a 2024 first-round rookie pick. Are you paying a first-rounder for Puka right now?
So I'm almost certain it was after week 1. You and I did a Puka conversation, and
Oh yeah,
at that
everybody
point,
did.
everybody did, of course, yeah, it would have been crazy not to. And at that point, from what I recall, it was Puka for a generic 2. One game into
Yep.
his NFL career, and I kind of was leaning towards yes, and that's
Yeah.
correct. I don't know that I can give up a future first for him, though. I mean, it's not that I'm super worried about Cooper Kupp. I mean, I think those guys can coexist. Cooper Kupp's not going to be there forever. Man, a first-round pick is a tough thing for me to part with.
Yeah, Matt Stafford's not going to be there forever either.
True.
And, I think he is deserving of a lot of credit for Nakua's success and honestly for Cooper Kupp's success as well. A couple more Puka trades to look at here. Puka Nacua and a second rounder for Drake London. We talked about London yesterday as one of our dynasty losers. It's tough to trust him, tough to put him in your lineup. We still like the value, though. Nacua and a second or Drake London. Where are you going there?
I think I love London, but do you agree that in redraft or this week, you would start Puka over London, right?
Oh, easily.
So I think that answers it enough. It's not like there's a gap maybe there's a gap in talent, but there's definitely a gap in production. And there's not a gap in age. So I want the Puka side there.
Yeah, Nacua, an older rookie, actually is at least a year older than Drake London. So yes. London still, even though with a year plus on his NFL career, still has the age advantage there. Puka Nacua and a third rounder for Javonte Williams.
Puka.
This one's not close for.
Yeah, I'd take Puka over Javonte. Yeah, not even close. Yeah.
The pick is maybe on the wrong side there. What about another 1-for-1 deal? Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Sorry. I mean, I can't put him in that stratosphere quite yet. Gibbs.
No, I'm not either. I still want Gibbs there, and honestly, not that close necessarily of a discussion for me. A couple guys we've talked about being traded for one another. Nacua for Jerome Ford.
Nacua.
Same. I agree. We're on the same page here.
I thought we'd fight on this one more. Yeah.
Last one. Puka Nacua and Chig Okonkwo. Kind of a disappointing start for him.
Yeah, he's making me sad.
For T. Higgins and Jake Ferguson. So, I mean, maybe you argue the tight ends cancel out. We're really talking about Puka Nacua for T. Higgins here.
And I'd prefer Chig of the tight ends, but I hear you. I'm taking T. Higgins over Puka Nacua.
Yeah, I am too.
I'll take that side. Yeah,
we're not going that high quite yet, in my opinion. As I said earlier, we will have some new ADP from Dynasty League football very soon. Certainly interested to see where guys like Puka Nacua land in that new data. That is going to do it for today's show. Please make sure you download and subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Remember to follow the show at Locked On Dynasty. Follow Matt at Williamson NFL. And I'm Ryan, MC23. We'll be back next time with more Locked On Dynasty.